Like majority of us, when my heart got broken, I was devastated beyond words. At that time, I could have never imagined that one day I would look back at this experience and think of it as the best thing that could have happened to me. Also, I could have never thought that one day I could tell someone that a heartbreak is an invitation from your soul to embark on a hero's journey. And if you say yes to this adventure, you will come on the other side of experience completely transformed. My intention with this video is to share with you how I healed my heart by committing to inner transformation, and most importantly, how you can do the same. Now, if you recently got your heart broken, then the picture that I have painted may seem too far-fetched or maybe even impossible to reach, and that's understandable. You know, when you love someone and that person breaks your heart, that state, for majority of us, is a moment of rude awakening. And the emotional pain is so intense that it feels as if someone punched you in your gut and threw you into an abyss of nothing. And every single moment that you live in that dark place, it hurts all the more. And you feel as if you have fallen from grace. And like any sane human being, we try different methods to get ourselves out of that dark place. Now, some of us might resort to overworking. We drive ourselves to exhaustion because a part of our brain tricks us into believing that if we keep ourselves busy, then we don't have to think about the heartbreak. We don't have to think about the pain. Others of us might resort to overeating because it gives us a sense of control that we so desperately need at that time. Some of us might resort to overdrinking or oversmoking to reduce the stress. Some of us might choose to cry. Some of us might go and make a new profile on Tinder or some other dating app. And then there are those of us who just seem to get stuck in that dark place. That was me, by the way, stuck and miserably stuck. Like none of my attempts to function as a normal human being were working, and I couldn't understand why I couldn't just spring back up. The interesting thing about being stuck is that it never really crosses our mind to reflect upon what behaviors got us stuck in the first place. Like, were you too jealous in your relationship? Or maybe you were overbearing or insecure or jealous, or maybe it was something else. We hardly do this inner reflection, and instead all we seem to muster and say is, oh my God, I'll never love again. Personally, the pain of rejection was so intense for me that I almost had a breakdown. You know, I thought to myself, if this is how life is supposed to be, then maybe I had seen it all. But despite the emotional turmoil that I was in, the intellect part of my brain was intrigued, like how can a heartbreak cause a breakdown? And this was something that I wanted to understand because in a way my life depended on it. Where do you go to seek answers that will heal your heart? Well, for me, those answers came in form of books, lots and lots of books. During this time of research, I would spend hours upon hours at Barnes & Nobles, and I would check any book that vaguely seemed interesting in the hopes that it just might answer my burning question. You know how they say, ask and ye shall receive? That's pretty much how my story went. My asking was so sincere that the answers came in form of a book, that elixir called love. And this book had a profound impact on me. Now, if you are thinking that reading this one book led me from here to there, you are mistaken. My journey looked more like this. Now, early in my research, I remember coming across a piece of information that quite honestly stopped me in my tracks. And it went something like this, and I'm paraphrasing here. When you keep moving from one partner to another, you attract the same person in a different body. And it is only a matter of time before the same issues surface again. And so, to attract the right partner, you must commit to changing yourself. Now, I remember reading this information and I honestly took it to my heart. Now, I didn't know if it was true or not, but something about it spoke to my heart, it spoke to my soul, and so I chose to listen to it. Now, looking back, I didn't even know what it meant to change or how I was supposed to change, but I was determined to find a way. Around that time, meditation came into my life, and what I noticed was that every single time I sat down to meditate, it made me ridiculously happy. Like it mattered not what was going on in my life, if I was heartbroken or not. Those few moments I sat down for meditation, I was happy, and I was in heaven. And it was also for the first time that I experienced and understood in a very tangible way that we don't need other people in our life to be happy. That happiness was truly an inside job. Because a lot of times, when we are feeling heartbroken, we fall into this myth, this belief that we need special someone in order to be happy. And my experience had just turned that myth upside down. Now, the times I wasn't meditating, which was majority of my waking hours, I felt an intense emotional pain that I just couldn't brush off. It wasn't that I was oblivious to pain. I knew how it felt if your best friend betrayed you. I got rejected in schools and colleges. I knew the pain of being turned down for job offers, being turned down by the college of your choice. But this pain, this heartbreak, gave me pain that was just off the charts. Now, in retrospect, what I didn't know back then was that every single time we are hurt, or betrayed, or feel let down, or are heartbroken, and we don't acknowledge that pain, what our brain does, it takes a tiny amount of that pain and it tucks it away somewhere that we can't see it. So the pain is always there, but we just are not present to it. Until an experience like a heartbreak comes along and it rips open your heart, and then you are forced to acknowledge all the pain, all the sadness that you haven't acknowledged so far. And as a society, I think we have all become the masters of cover-ups because we pretend all is cool even when it isn't. We choose to live in our head as opposed to our heart. And then the more disconnected we are from ourselves, the harder it becomes to sit with any kind of discomfort or pain. I had often heard that what we see in other people is only a reflection of ourselves. And in the context of love, it's even more telling. Like that time, when you have just started seeing that someone's special, and in those initial few days, weeks and months, you want to know every single thing about this person. You want to know what they like, what they don't like, and on and on. At that time, what your brain is doing with all this data gathering is keeping track of how closely this person reflects you. As in, coffee, check. Church, check. Travel, check. Money, check. And once you have enough of these green check boxes, ding, 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 your brain says, we got a match. Now, in essence, what you chose to see in someone was only a reflection of you and your thinking and the neural nets in your brain. And so, if you ever find yourself heartbroken, I think this chart is a very good representation to remind yourself that if you want to attract a different partner, then you must start by changing yourself. Now, looking at relationships through the eyes of spirituality intrigued me because I wanted to know what did our scriptures, what did Christic masters had to say about love. And in my research, what I found was this. Yes, the main purpose of relationships is growth. Now, many times when we are in love, we get stuck in the first three energy centers or the chakras of the body, meaning romantic love quickly turns from being love to now being a source of sex, which is all about the first chakra, or being a source of pain and suffering, which is the second chakra, or being a source of power, which is the third chakra. Hardly love gets an opportunity to move to the fourth or the fifth energy center, which is about unconditional love and speaking your truth. And so, what the scriptures say is that when two people are in a relationship and that relationship is not evolving, or for some reason those two people get stuck in the first three energy centers of the body, that relationship many times will die its own death. Because remember, the main purpose of relationships is growth. Now, if I were to ask you, would you like to be in a relationship where you were free to be yourself, where you were loved unconditionally, where your partner loved you not because of how you looked, but because of the essence of who you are? I think majority of us would say, yes, that is a pretty good relationship to have. Now, here's the thing. You can't attract that which you aren't. Meaning, if you want to attract a partner that operates from fourth chakra of unconditional love, you first need to be operating from that space. You know, it is said that you can't pour from an empty cup. And if you look to other people to love you, to acknowledge you, you will always be dependent on others. So give yourself enough love that it overflows. And sometimes that means finding joy in your life, which is independent of people, places, things, times, and events. Now, the pathway to becoming whole and complete within yourself means that self-love, self-compassion, and self-acceptance become your constant companions. And you know, this pathway is anything but a straight line, because there is no manual that will get you from here to there. Only the gentle whispers of your heart will guide you. Now, a few years ago, I was listening to an interview featuring Elizabeth Gilbert, who is the author of international bestseller Eat, Pray, Love. And for those of you who haven't read, this book is about Elizabeth's journey on how she traveled to Italy, India, and Indonesia in a quest to find herself. Now, during the interview, Elizabeth said, you know, when the book first came out, a lot of people jetted off to these three countries as if traveling to Italy, India, and Indonesia was somehow magically going to give them inner peace. And she said these people miss the point all along, because you can't listen to someone else's soul for your own healing. That path you have to carve out yourself. You can definitely seek inspiration, but it doesn't make sense to blindly follow another person. And so I will leave you with this. When you look into the mirror and you absolutely love the perfection that you see, you are well on your way to becoming whole and complete within yourself. And likened unto a hero's journey, you come on the other side of experience completely transformed. And when you change from the inside out, you naturally attract a partner who reflects the person that you have become. And this inner change is not only reflected in your romantic relationships, but also in your work and just about every aspect of your life. So change is possible, it is your divine right, and you must claim it. That's all I have to share.